It is time, my friends. Time to decide which one will live and die. Time to decide who stole the last cookie from the cookie jar. Time to decide who shall win the next console war. Well, it's obviously going to be the PS4. I mean, come on. Infamous Second Son, Knack, that's gotta be a good one. Oh, and how could I forget the longer rating Kingdom Hearts 3? I mean, that's gotta be the best title on the system. And wait, hold on, they need me something, hold on. Well, it's gonna be on the Xbox One too? Oh, son of a cheesecake! It is time for original against remake!
Hello and welcome everyone to the next installment of Original Against Remake, where I compare the original version of a game to its remake to see what changes were made for better or for worse if the remake sucks, so... yeah, title explains itself really. With that said... DuckTales.
For those of you who have never heard of DuckTales before, shame on you, but I'll go ahead and explain what the show's about. The show stars Scrooge McDuck and his three nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, going off on many adventures to protect Scrooge's wealth from silver villains like the Beagle Boys and Maleficent the Spell. The show itself is often considered as one of the best shows released back in the late 80s and early 90s, and it was a huge success for Disney, going big with a motion picture film and two spin-off shows, Crack Pack and Darkwing Duck.
So why am I bringing up this awesome nostalgic TV show? Well, one, because I like the show. I guess that's one good reason. And two, there was an NES game about it. Most NES games based on TV shows and movies usually suck and have been mocked and raged by most gamers, most famously by the angry video game nerd. But DuckTales is one of those good NES games that has been praised by 8-bit enthusiasts and gamers alike, for its tight controls, unique gameplay, and music that's so good that it's burned into our skulls like the theme song. So why am I talking about this awesome NES classic? Well, one, I like the show and this game. Oh, and there was also a remastered version of this game called DuckTales Remastered. Released on the PS3, 360, PC, and the Wii U, this game has gained a lot of positive feedback, not just because gamers are excited to relive those awesome nostalgic memories, but also because some of its updates may have made it better than the original. Which begs the question, which game is better, the NES Classic or the reimagining? They're both the same, but let's find out!
Before we get started with the review, let's dive into a little history first. Back in the late 80s and early 90s, Disney and Capcom teamed up to make games based on many of Disney's shows and movies. So you got some really good games like Tailspin and Darkwing Duck on the Nintendo, and Goof Troop and Aladdin for the Super Nintendo. Heck, DuckTales was so successful that a sequel was made years later. Granted, it suffered poor sales due to it releasing near the end of the NES's life, but was still good. It's a real shame that team-ups like this don't happen that often, because if they did, then all movie-based games would actually be good, instead of sucky. The remastered game was not only remade by Capcom, but also has some assistance by Wave 4 Technologies. Sadly, I don't know that much about them, but they are the team responsible for the Shanty games, so that's a good sign. But anyway, let's move on to the story. The NES's story is a little vague, but to be fair, most NES games wanted you to read the manual to learn more about the story, so let's pick up that game manual on the internet.
And now, because I'm such a nice person, I'm gonna read this to you live! Because I couldn't think of anything else funny for me to write in, so let's go ahead and read. Uncle Scrooge is a world-class millionaire and a lover of adventure. His goal this time is to obtain the 5 lost treasures that were scattered throughout the world. He is off on his adventure with the help of Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Rebby. They will travel with him through the jungles of the Amazon, the snow-topped peaks of the Himalayas, the haunted house in Transylvania, the subterranean mines of Africa, and the surface of the moon. How many of the lost treasures will you be able to find? How many lost treasures will you find? How... 7? Damn it!
The remastered version, on the other hand, focused more on the plot using multiple cutscenes. Heck, they added another level to the beginning and the end of the game to help expand the story some. The Beaker Boys have broken into Scrooge McDuck's vault, but instead of stealing his gold, they instead steal a painting. Why? Cause there's a treasure map inside of it, so they go off to the 5 aforementioned locations to find the treasure. The remastered game also helps explain some of the motives and the reasoning behind each level, such as explaining how Scrooge is able to breathe on the moon, which all they have to do is to just chew some kind of bubblegum. I knew it! One complaint I hear a lot in many reviews is how there are too many cutscenes that constantly breaks the gameplay up. And while I do agree that the cutscenes do tend to get annoying once in a while, it didn't bother me that much as most people, cause, well, I like the writing. It really does feel like you're watching a multi-part episode of the DuckTales TV show. So as long as the writing is good and you enjoy watching the cutscenes, that's all that should matter. But I know that there are some people who prefer less cutscenes and more gameplay. So, do you want to play a game with little to no cutscenes, or one that focuses heavily on the story? It's up to you! In the Nintendo version, there are actually 3 endings based on how well you do in the game. One for just simply clearing the game, one for collecting $10 million, and a bad ending if you collect no money at all. That one kind of confuses me some. In my opinion, DuckTales is probably the best looking game on the NES. All the character models represent that of the original television show, and the color palette helps make each level different and pretty to look at. One thing I love about DuckTales is the level design. It's simple, yes, but the levels themselves are large enough to make you want to explore the whole level. It's game design at its finest. The remastered version uses a 2.5D presentation, and if you don't know what 2.5D means, it's basically a game that uses 3D models, but is restricted in a 2D plane. The character sprites have been updated to hand-drawn designs, which not only makes the characters look more closely to the show, but also have some more unique animations. The level designs are still the same with some exceptions. For example, in the beginning of the African Mine stage in the NES version, you need to go back to Transylvania to get a key, and once you do, you can continue on with the stage. While in the remastered version, you just travel on the other end of the stage to get the key. And instead of just going to the temple on the Amazon level, you will first need to find 8 coins in order to make the path to the temple. Very minor, but does allow the player to explore the level more, instead of just going from point A to point B. But for the most part, the remastered version remains truthful to the original level layout. Interesting enough, according to the game's director, there were no initial plans to include voice acting in the remake, but Disney could enlist several of the original voice actors to play in the game, so that's how that came to be. Some of the original voice cast from the television series reprised their character voices, the original voice actors being Russi Taylor as Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Rebby, Terry McGovern as Launchpad McCrack, my favorite character, June Foray as Magica Dispel, and the voice of Scrooge himself, Alan Young. And despite some of them being over 90 years old, they still sound fantastic.
Oh, Scroogey, my old friend, you wouldn't believe how much fun it is watching you run around making a fool of yourself.
Oh, you want anything done, you've got to do it yourself. And believe me, if I hear voices down there, I'll give them a good talking to.
And now we come to the most memorable part of the DuckTales game, the music. Even if you haven't played the game yet, you probably heard remixes or people talk about some of the music in the game, and the soundtrack in both games are pretty damn awesome. My personal favorite theme in both the NES and the remastered version is the Amazon theme. It's upbeat, catchy, and it's so groovy. But the one theme that everyone goes crazy for is the Moon theme. This theme is the #1 theme that everyone says is the best music in the game and in all of video game music history. Now, I like both versions, but I'll let you guys decide which one is better. Here's the original. And here's the remake. Which one is better?
You make the call.
You play as Scrooge McDuck as he travels to 5 different locations looking for the 5 treasures to increase his fortune. Your main weapon of defense is a cane, which I might add is a fancy, awesome weapon, especially if you have a sword inside of it.
I take it with me when I'm walking. But I don't kill anyone with it. No, I don't pull the sword out on me, so that's a good thing, I guess. Oh, hi, Black Cross. Hey, guys, it's Black Cross. Ow!
Stop stealing my stuff!
Ow! Why did you do that? I have to use it for the scene. Ow! Son of a cheesecake!
When you're on the ground, you can swing it to break open chests and to throw center objects at hard to reach places. And when you're jumping, you can bounce on it like a pogo stick and attack enemies from above. You can also use this jump to higher elevations when you bounce on an enemy. Plus, you can bounce across spiked areas so that way you don't get hurt. And I have to say that I love using this cane. Something about bouncing on these enemies feels so satisfying. As you explore the level, there are 2 objects that you can collect: diamonds and ice cream. Diamonds are found in treasure chests or appearing randomly in certain areas. This is used to increase your fortune, the red ones being more valuable. In some parts of the game, some characters from the show can help you out, such as Mrs. Beakley, who gives you ice cream to heal yourself. You explore 5 different locations: the Amazon, the African mines, the Himalayas, Transylvania, and the moon. You can visit each level in any order that you like, and each level has a boss you must defeat to retrieve that level's treasure. In the NES game, there are 2 secret treasures hidden within some of the levels, which can help raise more money so you could get the better ending. These hidden treasures are also in the remaster game, but only in hard mode. One element that was removed from the remaster game is the time limit, and to be fair, I found it kind of pointless. Cause you have plenty of time to explore the level, and you get extra cash when you beat the level from the remaining time you have. Now what did the remake do differently? Well, I personally thought that the controls were a bit better to use than in the NES version. In the NES game, when you jump, you press both the down arrow and the B button to bounce. While in the remaster version, you just press A or Y. Sure, it's not that big of a deal, but I found it easier to use. And like I said before, there are 2 new levels added to the game due to the expansion of the plot. The Money Bin level, which is a tutorial level, and the final stage set in Mount Venus... that mountain, yeah, there we go, just that mountain. This also replaces the return trip to Transylvania from the original game. All the bosses have new mechanics that makes them more challenging. One of the most fun bosses I had in the remake is Count Dracula Duck, who had gotten a major upgrade cause his battle in the NES game was a bit easy, even in the hard mode setting. One final addition that the remake has is the gallery. The gallery showcases artwork from the game, the television show, and music tracks from both the NES and the remaster version. When you collect money in the levels, you can use the money to unlock stuff from the gallery. Not that big of a deal, but something for you to do if you love completing games. One thing that I wish Capcom would have done with the remastered version was to include the original version as a completion bonus for beating the game. I mean, yeah, they keep the original music as unlockables, but I wish that you could play the original version after beating it, so for those who haven't played the NES game before, can experience how much consoles has grown over the past 20 years. Much like how I ended my previous reviews, this section details the recommended price for the games and which platforms you can get them on. So with that said, let's go shopping! The remastered version is available on multiple platforms, including for PC, PS3, Xbox 360, and the Wii U. The version that I play for you guys today is of course the Wii U version. And while it doesn't have any trophies or achievements, it does offer off-TV play, which is my favorite feature of the Wii U, and you could discuss the game with other players on the DuckTales Remastered Miiverse. The NES game for the card alone can go up to $10 to $20. It's pretty easy to find, and although if you're wanting to get the original box, it'll be a bit more costly. And there is a sequel to this game, but it's a bit more expensive due to suffering from low sales because it was released during the end of the NES's lifetime. But it is often considered as a rare item in the NES library, but it's not super rare, it's just over about $100 at least.
DuckTales, whether it being the NES game or the remastered version, is a fantastic video game for both Disney fans and gamers alike. The NES game is an instant classic and for good reason. The gameplay, the music, the level design, it's all there. And the remastered version take the elements that made the NES game a hit but added a few tweaks here and there for today's gamers. And both of them are very good and I love them. However, I don't think everyone will appreciate these games because one, they're relatively short. With the NES game, you could be in about 30 minutes, and this you could probably be in about 2 hours or so. And also, the interrupting cutscenes may annoy some people, like I said before. But if I had to choose one game that I would want to revisit over and over again, I'll have to say yes to the remastered version. Now, don't get me wrong, the NES game is a great game, but if I had to choose one, it'll be the remastered version, because the improvements it made from it with the original voice actors, the controls improved a lot. I just think it's the better game for me. With that in mind, guys, on a Mullins grayscale, I give these games a B+ and an A-. And that's all the time we have for today, folks. So if you'd like to leave your thoughts on today's game, just comment below. And if you'd like to suggest more original games remake episodes, just comment again, because there's been a lot of remakes coming out lately, with Castle of Illusion remake coming out for the PS3 and 360. Kingdom Hearts HD remake is out. In fact, you can probably hear my brother playing it back room, I don't know, but hopefully he doesn't beat me up with the cane this time. Please don't. And before we end today, I would like to say that one Capcom employee did say that if the sales for DuckTales Remastered were good, that they might make a few more remakes in the future. So who knows, we may get a Chip and Dale remake, Darkwing Duck remake. Actually, I would love to play a Darkwing Duck Remastered because I love Jim Cummings' voice. It's so sweet to my ears. Now if you excuse me, yeah, I can't really think of anything funny to end this review on, so play the theme song! DuckTales, woo! Every day that I am making DuckTales, woo! Tales of daring, new, bad, and good DuckTales, woo! Not ponytails or counting tails, no DuckTales, woo! Hey, yuck, Tim Curry was the technical artist. That's a good sign right there. Hey, thanks for watching this video, and welcome to another special, not so special, but regular video annotations time. The part of the video where I recommend 2 other videos for you guys, cause why not? Anyway, if you'd like to see the previous Downwatch Show review on my top 10 favorite Super Mario Galaxy levels, just click the image of me holding the pinball
I mean paddleball. I did that last time, my bad. Paddleball shark thingy. And if you'd like to watch one of my Thomas comedies, just click the image of Thomas and the creepy plane. It's good, I can promise you. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to watch more videos from me in the future. Constructive criticism is welcome, it helps me improve my videos, and who doesn't want to get better at making videos? I mean, come on, seriously, who doesn't? And... bye-bye!